Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going wonderful. I'm so glad you're joining me. Well, I have 8 fun note cards to share with you today. We're using Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar for 2025. Last week we did day 1 through 7, and today we are doing day 8 through day 15. So 8 cards today. I'm going to share with you a little bit about the cards we're making today. First, I'm making some note cards. In case you missed day 1, I'll link it up here. You can check that video out. But the note card size, if you open it up, this measures 5 1/4 inches wide, and then I just folded it in half. Okay, and then this is 3 3/4 inches tall. So these are my little note cards. I had picked up some little envelopes. Okay, and these little note cards will fit perfectly in here. Okay, so note cards are what it is today. Again, the colors that I'm using are these here. These are kind of going with the theme of my envelopes and also the packaging. I have Spellbinders Dahlia, Spellbinders Lavender, Coral, Peridot. This is Celestial. We have Seaside, and then we have Waterfall. So this is the colors that I'm using today. For the most part, we're going to be using just the kit contents, but I'm going to bring in a few extra elements, like a stamp set. This stamp set is from Spellbinders, and it's called Speech Bubble Sentiments. It's the same stamp set that we used for our first video. Okay, so we'll be using this on our card projects. And then I'm also going to be using this die set once more. This is the Postage Edge Circles. I mentioned that this is the older die set, and Spellbinders may not have it. But if you were to replace the postage edge with a scallop circle edge or just some circles, it would work just the same. So if you have a nesting circle die, you could use that. Okay, so we're going to be using this one. And I'm also going to be using one of the squares that I have in my Everlasting Squares. So a square die. And then those are the extras. I am going to bring in a little bit of my diamond stickles today. But other than that, everything else we're going to be using from our Advent Calendar. Let's open it up and take a look. Just to save a little bit of time, I mentioned I did open up the windows, but let's go through them really quickly. This is day 8. Day 8 is a bunting. It says happy day, and then there is a solid one that can go behind it, and then there's a single one. That's day 8. Day 9, we have a package of really pretty purple iridescent sequins. These are just beautiful, and it's a hefty little package. Now that's pretty fabulous for embellishing. Day 10 is up here in this corner, and that is a cute little piece of toast that you can doctor up with some jam. It has some legs and some arms, and then a little broken heart here. You could I labeled it PB&J because this could actually be peanut butter too. It could be butter, peanut butter, jam, jelly. So cute. Love it. So that's day 10. Now day 11 is this one right here. Day 11 is a stamp set. And I think Spellbinders designed this to where the stamp set is meant to go with a lot of the elements that are in the windows. We make a great pair, would be great for peanut butter and jelly. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 greetings in here. I marked it day 11. So that's what the green is behind there. So that's wonderful. We'll be using every one of these greetings on our cards today. Day 12. Day 12 is here. This is what it looks like. It's a 3-piece set, easy to put together. I just love it. Now, I do want to mention, if you open day 12's window, try not to destroy the flower on it, okay? Actually, we can just take that off. Put this to the side because we're going to be using this. Okay, so day 12, flower on front, we're going to be using. Day number 13 is in the bottom left corner. And it is a fabulous little floral. It looks like petals on here. It's a petal. It's really pretty design. So we have an embossing folder on day 13. Day 14 has this really pretty flower. If you don't like the look of day 12's flower, you can actually replace it with this. But this is a die set, and it's this one here. Now I'm not sure if it's a little inchworm or if it's a snake. I'm thinking it's a little inchworm, and then it has a big large leaf to go with it. It's really cute, very playful, and so that is day 14. Day 15, we'll keep this out because it's another die set, and I just gotta find the window. You guys could probably see it right away, right? Okay, it was right here. This is day 15. And it is the cutest little fish tank in the world. There's the cute little layering fish. And then you have the water and, of course, the outline of the fish tank. So that's day 15. So that's everything in Windows day 8 through day 15. I'm going to put this to the side, and we have to jump in because we have lots to do. I did my die cutting already. I die cut out 5 happy days with white cardstock, 5 colored banners using just one of the dies. There's several in here. We're not going to use the day on our card. We're just going to use the happy. And I die cut out using this one. 5 different colors of the banners. Okay, I have a panel that is slightly smaller than my note card. Okay, and what we're going to do is take our happy. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind here. And we're going to attach the happy to the banner behind it. And I, again, did 5 different colors. So we'll just flip this around. We will add the banner behind it. And then using my scissors, I'm going to cut off the day. When I cut off the day, I'm going to go all the way to the end. So we have that little end piece. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to add a couple of small foam squares behind here. We'll add 3. And that's 1. Now I'm going to continue and do the same thing with the rest of these. So we have 5 banners now. I arranged them in the colors that I want. I have blue, the darker pink, we have the green, the purple, and then the orange. What I'm going to do next is we're going to arrange them on this panel at a slight angle. We'll tack it down. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. We're going to fill I'm not going to press down all the way because I may have to adjust them. But I'm going to fill this entire panel with a whole bunch of happy. Now I'm going to take this. I'm going to add some glue behind here. And all we're going to do is layer this on the front of our note card. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in the stamp set from our window 11. And I'm going to stamp I Heard It's Your Birthday on the inside of my card. Let's go ahead and do that here on here. I'm going to use my VersaFine Clear ink. And I'm just going to stamp it up. And there we go. Cute little birthday card. If you wanted to turn this into a tag, you could. If you wanted to add some colored cardstock behind it, I think that would make a really cute little quick and easy card. That's card number 1. I started by creating a window in a piece of my purple cardstock using one of my square dies. Okay, this panel is slightly smaller than my note card. And then if you have a piece of acetate, you could do that to create your shaker window. But I'm actually going to use the packaging that was from our embossing folder. I wanted to use something that everybody had, and it's very easy. I'm just going to trim this down. And sometimes when you trim it, you have a tube now. And then I'm just going to pull it apart. And then I have 2 pieces. This one's not very pretty because of the glue, but I'm going to use this piece. And I'm going to put it behind my window here. Now I'm going to add glue behind this entire panel. If you wanted to pop it up with foam tape, you could, but we're not doing that today. I don't think this is a shaker kind of a encouragement card. What I'm going to do is, since these are discs, I'm going to go ahead and take a few. I'm going to add them to the front of my card here. And I'm going to layer, scoot them up here, and then I'm going to layer this window right over the top. Okay, we do have a little bit of movement, but it's not a playful shaker. Okay, and we are 1 layer. after we have this done, I did create a flower. The flower that I created was using window number 5, this one here. Okay, I just put it together. It's a 3-piece. It's very easy to put together. I'm just going to remove the release paper and we're going to add this here. I'm going to kind of offset it a little bit. I'm going to add a greeting. This is "I'm here for you." I mentioned it being an encouragement card. So let's go ahead and stamp this on a strip of white cardstock. We will bring back our ink here. We'll just ink this up. Lovely. I'm going to trim off what's overhanging and pop it up, and this is going to go here. I'm going to add this right down here in this bottom corner, and then I'm going to bring back our pretty sequins, and then I'm going to add a few extra. Lovely. And then for this one, I'm going to bring in a little bit more white, and I'm going to go around my window with a little bit of faux stitching with my white gel pen. And that is all there is to this card. And there's not very much bulk, so let me see if it will fit in my note cards. Of course, I put a piece of cardstock over the front, but it fits in a note card beautifully. That's all there is to that. Okay, window number 10. Let's make some toast. We're gonna make some blueberry jam toast. Now, I did blueberry because, of course, you know I like to do something different. Okay, and I thought that the flower bud in window number 5 would make a nice little blueberry. And then there's a little stamen piece on this flower that if you wanted to add, you know, the little, the end piece to the blueberry, that little flower, all you would do is add a little glue, and you can add that little extra piece if you wanted to make a blueberry. That's what that little flower bud reminded me of. So we're going to make blueberry jam. Now I am going to bring in a little bit of ink. I'm using my Simon Says Stamp desk ink, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading because I think this is just going to make it more blueberry. And I didn't add that little stamen piece to all of them, just one of them. Okay, our blueberry jam. Let's put together our toast. I created the edge of the toast, the larger toast piece, with craft cardstock. That's Nina Desert Storm. And then I die cut out the top part with white. And then I'm going to go ahead and add, I was going to glue it down, but you need to add this little black piece here. Goes right behind the eyes. Okay, and then we can finish gluing this guy. And then we can layer. We'll add our blueberry jam. This is so cute. Let's go ahead and add our legs. I die cut out his cheeks with white cardstock, and then I'm just using a Copic marker and going to go over those little rosy cheeks. I'm actually using RV10. And then we can add the cheeks to our toast. And that's all there is. My blueberry jam toast. Okay, for my background on my note card, I ended up embossing, using our embossing folder from day 13, a strip. This is a 3/4 inch, a little over 3/4 inch strip of white cardstock, and then I have a strip of purple cardstock. What we're going to do is layer these two together. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, let's add our little toast. And then I want to have him holding a blueberry here, holding a blueberry here. And so I'm bringing in the stamp set that I mentioned that we used for our first set of cards. There's a speech bubble in here. I'm going to stamp this. Okay, let's stamp this with our black ink. Wonderful. And then I'm going to use my scissors and just fussy cut this out. Okay. I think that's a good spot. Now you probably noticed that I have a bunting that we created with window number 8. I die cut it out. This actually says Happy Day. I die cut this out with black cardstock. Now I'm going to punch out the H, and I'm also going to punch out the first part of the D, which for the day. Okay, and then this is going to create a little word high. Okay, and then I'm going to add a couple dots of glue here. And we're going to add high to our thought bubble. That worked out great. You could spell out high from your bunting or your banner. Okay, now we have our sequin mix from day 9. Let's add a few little sequins. And that is window number 10. A little bit of blueberry jam. And a great way to repurpose the inside pieces to our window number 8 bunting. Okay, let's move along to our window number 11. Window number 11 is our stamp set. I'm going to be using I'm Here For You again. I went ahead and embossed one side of my note card. It's really easy to do with these embossing folders. I just lined it up here and ran this through my die cut machine. Okay, so we have a little bit of texture, and on the inside it's just as pretty. I thought we would put our packaging to great use. This flower seems like it would be really easy to cut out. So this is window number 12's front. Another great flower would be window number 14. I think that would be a great flower to use. Window number 4 is a little bit more of a delicate flower, but that would be a great one too. This is actually a great flower to use for this card too, but we're not on that yet, so I'm not going to use this flower. Okay. Let's fussy cut this out. So we fussy cut it out. I didn't realize it, but it does have the little flower stamen. So I just trimmed off the red portion, and then we ended up with this little flower. Okay, let's take our greeting that says I'm here for you. I'm going to put it on acrylic block. When I embossed this, it left the line. I don't know if you can see that line here. Okay, and I'm going to use that line as a reference, and I'm going to stamp I'm Here For You all along this line. Now we're going to add a foam square. Let's pop this little flower up here. I'm going to add my flower down here. I think that looks really pretty. Kind of a really quick and easy card. And then I'll bring in some of our purple confetti, and we're going to add a little bit of purple in here. And that will finish off that card. Pretty simple card. But that's using window number 11 stamp set. Okay, window number 12 is the cute little telephone. And we're going to be doing some mix and matching. For my background, I used my orange cardstock. And then I cut out my telephone 3 times, this piece here, with these 3 colors. Let's go ahead and take our base. And I'm going to add my teal color here. Okay, I'm glad that when I die cut out the white that the little circles from this stayed intact, because I'm going to go ahead and glue that directly inside of my phone here. So it worked out great that all those little circles stayed intact. Okay. And then I'm going to take the black dial. We're going to add a little glue behind here, and then this is going to go layered on the top. And then the inside piece, I thought maybe we would put the blue right on the inside. There we go. And then that will be our cute little telephone. Okay, I am going to add a little glue for our cord, which is adorable. And we will layer this here and here. Now, as far as my note card goes, I have a panel. This is slightly smaller than my note card. Okay, and I'm going to bring back that stamp set that has the speech bubble. And what we're going to do is fill the entire background with the speech bubble. because speech bubbles and telephones go perfect together. Let's go ahead and we'll just fill this background here. Let's go ahead and adhere this to the front of our note card. After we have this adhered, I have a thin strip of my seaside cardstock, and I'm going to go along the edge here. And then we're going to stamp our greeting. Let's take our stamp set. Of course, for this card, we're going to use Let's Chat Soon. Okay, now for this card, I'm not going to add any sequins, but I am going to add some of my diamond stickles. I'm going to add it on the dial here in each one of those little white sections for a little added shine and sparkle. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of purple. So I'm going to take some purple cardstock. I'm going to trim down a thin strip. And I'm going to add a strip of purple right next to the seaside. Let's just trim off the overhanging. I think that just extra color kind of just made it. And now that we have the purple, I can add the sequins. So let's add some sequins. There we go. That's a fun little playful card. And that is window number 12. So cute. Window 13, we have our pretty embossing folder. We've been using this. What I'm going to do is emboss a whole bunch of strips of cardstock. Okay, I think my largest is here. And we're just going to run all of these through the die cut machine. I'll be right back. So we have several different embossed strips. So now we have several different embossed strips. I trimmed down a panel slightly smaller than my note card, and we are going to fill in our note card here with these strips. Now I just layered them all on a panel that was slightly smaller than my note card. Okay, and then anything overhanging I just trimmed off with my scissors. You can keep these for another card project if you wanted. Okay, and then we're going to take this panel and we're going to just layer it right in the front of our card. I'm going to bring back my stamp set, and we're going to use this paper grid. You could use pattern paper for this, or you could just use regular cardstock to do what I'm doing. You don't have to have lines on it, but I think the lines were going to really add to my design. And I'm going to stamp this on a piece of white cardstock. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to trim, let's see. I'm going to just tear the paper at the very top, like this. That's all I'm going to do to this. And then I'm going to trim down the sides a little bit more. And I'm going to trim the bottom. There we go. So now we have a little note card. And then we can stamp our greeting. I'm going to use the greetings in here. And I think we're going to stamp just saying. And I'm going to use the exclamation points. Just like here. I think that's a good spot. And then I'm going to trim off the leftover. And we'll go ahead and add some sequins to this too. What would be really cute on this one is adding a little paper clip. So I went through my stash and I found a little paper clip. And I'm going to add it to here. We'll just tuck that there, and I think that just worked out perfectly. So cute. Nice little note card using window number 13. Window number 14 is our leaf, which we are going to add a little bit of blue to. I have the leftover ink on that blending tool that we used earlier, and I'm just going to go around the edge here just to soften it a bit. And then we're going to add glue behind this piece of our leaf. This goes right down the center here. And then we have a fun little leaf. Okay, now we're going to build our, I'm going to call it a worm. I'm not a fan of snakes, so a worm it is. We're going to add a little glue behind our worm face. And then we will add the little eyes here. It's nice they have a background. Should we pop up our little face? Adorable. There are little accent pieces for the eyes that you need to add a little glue here and here. And we will add these. We also have the little cheeks here that, again, I'm going to use a pink Copic marker and just color these in. And then we will add our little cheeks. I wanted a little extra color in the background, so I created a frame using my postage circles. Again, you can use a scallop border or just your circle dies to create a frame. I'm going to add some glue behind here, and I'm going to attach it to the background. Here. And then I'll take this, and I'm going to add some glue behind here, and this is going to go tack this down. Of course, we got a little excess that we need to trim away. Now, I put the white behind here for a little extra dimension. Okay, but you don't need to. You could just put your frame, your circle frame, if you wanted to. Okay, let's add our leaf. Just going to put a couple of foam squares behind here. Now we're going to add a little glue behind the body of our snake. And then we were going to weave this underneath our little leaf. And we can add him. So adorable. And then I went ahead and die cut out the Hello You. The Hello You is from window number 4's die set. There's 3 gradings in here. We're going to use the Hello You. I cut it out with the blue cardstock. And I'm going to just add some foam tape behind here, and we're going to tack this right here. Now we're almost finished with this card. I'm just going to bring in my diamond stickles, and I'm going to add a little bit of glitter, cutesying up our little worm. Okay, and that finishes that card. That's all there is to that one. Window number 15, we're going to make this cute little fish tank. Now I cut out the shadow twice, one with the waterfall cardstock, one with white cardstock. Okay, and I kept the bottom piece of the waterfall and the top piece and the inside piece of the fish tank here. Okay, and then with the water area, I cut that out with Seaside. And then I have 2 fishes. One I created already. I'll show you how I did it. It's very easy. We're just going to add a little glue. And then you can add the layering element. I used the same colored cardstock. Okay, and then with this piece, we're going to use a black marker. And I'm just going to go over this piece. You could cut it out with black cardstock, but I just saved this step. I'm going to flip over my fish, and I'm going to add a little glue behind his eye. And then you just line up this with the fish's face, and then his eye is good to go. And our fish is almost done. I did add a little bit of my diamond stickles to that layered piece that we added for extra sparkle. Just a thin layer. And then I did the same thing with purple cardstock. So now we have 2 little fish. Now to create our fish tank, now I have a piece of green cardstock. Let me tell you the measurements. Okay, but this is 3 1/4 inches tall by 1 3/4 inches wide. And this is what we're going to add our fish tank to. So I think I want my fish tank a little bit wonky. So my fish tank's going to overhang just a little bit. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to add glue behind the base of my white tank. Okay, so I added a little glue behind my white one. We're going to overhang off of this a little bit here. So I'm going to tack this down. And again, we're overhanging. And then I'm going to add my white piece here. Now I ended up adding all the pieces to the white. When I cut this out, I ended up adding all of the pieces hanging over my peridot cardstock, okay? And then what we're going to do next is take the water piece and we're going to layer this right over the top, like so. And then with our waterfall, let's add a little glue behind here. This is going to go layered right over the top. Okay, we have this little extra piece that I'm going to add right to the bottom here. We'll add that. And then that will be our fish bowl. Now, before we add our fish, I'm going to take our note card. Okay, we're going to do a little stamping using the same stamp set that we've been using. This time I'm going to use the checkerboard. Okay, let's put this on an acrylic block. And I'm going to use my Memento ink because it dries really fast. And I'm just going to add a little pattern over here on this bottom area. I want to make sure that it's straight. We'll add a little pattern there, and then I'm going to add a little more ink over here, and we'll do the same thing on this top section. Hopefully my lines are straight, just so we have something in the background. That's the great thing about this stamp set, is you can use all of the elements. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, and we're going to layer this right in the middle. You know, I think I'm actually going to trim a little bit off the top here. We're going to add a couple of the fishes here. It's made for one, but I thought that was just a little playful look with him sticking out. Okay, and then for my greeting, we're going to take our window 11 stamp set. And I thought this would be a great card to put. We make a great pair. And so I'm going to do that. I stamped it on some white cardstock, but you know what? I trimmed it into 2 pieces. Okay, and I did put foam tape behind them. And we are going to add them playful and wonky. This is one of those cards that are great for a coworker too. If you have a coworker that you work great with, I think that's a cute little card for that. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do for that card. I'm not going to do anything else to it. If you wanted to put glaze and glue behind there and shiny it up, you could, but I think that makes a great cute little card. So that's card number 8. Let's take a look at all the cards that we made today. I had to tape them down because they're all popping open, but we have a happy birthday card. We added sequins a little bit later, but the greeting is on the inside too. We had a whole bunch of happy here. We have window, this is window number 8. Window number 9, we have a package of sequins that we created a flat shaker with the packaging. That's an inspirational card. We used the flower from window number 5. Okay, this is window number 10. It's the cute little blueberry jam that we created a greeting using the Happy Day die, and then we also created some blueberries with the same flower die from window number 5. Kind of improvising. And then we have window number 11, which is our stamp set, and we just created a border with our stamp set, and then we fussy cut out the packaging from window number 12. So that worked out great. It's a pretty little flower. And then we have window number 12, which is the cute little telephone. Just adorable. We have the embossing folder that we created a background with here. Okay, this is window 13. Window 14, we have this cute little worm snake. And then we used the greeting from window number 4, kind of mixing and matching everything. And then we lastly have window number 15, and this is the cutest little fish tank ever. Okay, I do recommend something flat to put it on, but it sure is adorable. Those are my 8 cards that we made today using windows number 8 through 15. Now, my next video using the Advent Calendar will be on Saturday the 20th. Okay, we are going to create 5 cards using window 16 through window 20. And so keep a lookout for that video or mark your calendars. I hope you're enjoying these cute little note cards. And again, I'm calling them note cards because I have those little envelopes, but you could actually pop these up on A2 size card bases. No problem. I think that would make a fun little centerpiece for an A2 card. But have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.